Hello, I'm Lucas Hakkenberg, and I would just like to start off by thanking Dr. Hicks, Dr. Howard, Ms. Price, and the Burhans for providing me with this opportunity. And I worked at the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy, which is a coalition of faith communities that ranges from Christian, Islamic, Judaism, and even Hindu traditions. And we're a nonpartisan organization that works for social justice in Virginia. And as I've been Lutheran all my life, and so this was a great opportunity for me. And the issues we deal with are criminal justice, the environment, poverty, and the working poor. And one thing I really enjoy about state politics is that you can make such an impact on a state level. One of my favorite stories is during a General Assembly session, our executive director received a call from a state senator's office that was like, you have to call off the dogs. You know, we've been receiving phone calls all day. And they were like, well, how many phone calls did you receive? And they're like, well, we've been flooded. We had 5 phone calls. And I think this shows the scale that state politics operates at. It doesn't take huge groups to change things. It just takes tiny groups of people working together. And what I dealt with primarily was youth and young adult outreach and how to take these issues of social justice that in some ways are complex, in some ways they're academics, tax rebates, indirect income tax credits, making that refundable. And then how do you make youth and young adults care about that? And as I feel a lot of our faculty advisors know, sometimes one of the real joys about working with young people is it's very easy to tell when they're not paying attention. People are not very bashful about pulling out a cell phone during a presentation, and so that's always a great way to figure, you know, that's something I need to look at. And so at a point in my presentation where there had been a little too much text messaging going on, I was like, well, I really need something interactive to go on here. And so I came up with the bucket game, which is, especially on a hot summer day, you would do a bucket relay where you'd have one big bucket and then several smaller buckets, and teams would race back and forth to fill up the buckets. And the kicker to this was that some of the buckets had holes in them, and teams quickly discovered that if your bucket has a hole in it, it's very hard to win this game. It's very hard to win the relay. And the nice thing about this was it served as such an apt metaphor for what we do at the Virginia Interfaith Center, because while charity is great and while we obviously need soup kitchens and homeless shelters, unless we plug that hole in the bucket, we're not going to make a real lasting impact. And so this was something where we could have fun, but also illustrate in a concrete manner how we complement what other organizations are doing for working through systematic change by advocating at the General Assembly. And so that was something very special for me. And I got to travel across the state doing presentations to high school students and college students. And something that I believe is a real testament to the University of Richmond is I did a presentation at a weekend-long Lutheran conference with 5 speakers, including the Bishop of the Virginia Synod of the Lutheran Church and the National Secretary. And after that event, I got a letter from the pastor who ran that telling me that they had done evaluations and my presentation was the most highly ranked presentation there. And so I think that's a real testament to the University of Richmond, the gifts that it's given me, Dr. Kuswal, my academic advisor on the debate team. And so that was something really special for me to be able to see how I could take the skills I learned here and really bring them out and have an impact. And something else I did was college outreach. And just recently, yesterday, I was at the University of Virginia speaking to a Presbyterian group. And after a presentation on car title lending, we had a commerce student there say, so are you guys doing anything to create nonprofit alternatives to predatory lending in Virginia? And she said, you know, I go to the commerce school here, and it'd be really cool if we could work together to put together a model or an outline for churches to use to provide nonprofit loans. And so that's something that I really enjoy, is going out and making these connections, because as colleges and universities, we have such tremendous assets. and linking them with the social problems we're facing was just amazing. And in addition to the UVA presentation, I'll be going to James Madison University, George Mason University, and William and Mary to continue this type of outreach. And another real joy of mine was the academic paper I was able to write, where I contrasted accompaniment, which is to walk with those who are impoverished, with the Saul Alinsky model of community organizing. And through that, I'm actually continuing that work through an independent study in the political science department. And so that shows how truly academically challenging these internships are, and how truly interdisciplinary these studies are. And so in conclusion, I'd like to say how much this grant meant to me, and how also this made me think about what I'm doing individually and then what the university is doing as a whole. And the fact that as a university, I think we're very good at teaching people what to do, but maybe we need to step back and think about who we're called to be in a community, and think about what is our purpose? How do we really expand and go out into our community? Because I've traveled all over the state, and I know the unique gifts that college students and young people possess, and I know that we live in a state where those gifts are so sorely needed. And so that's why I'm so happy to see this endowment growing, so that more students can have the opportunity that I had to go out into the community. I think it's really broadened me as a person. And I've even taken this, and I also now work with the Urban Debate League in Richmond. And Saturday, I was up at 5:30 in the morning to go with inner city Richmond public school children to their first debate tournament, and watching them win their first debate. And so this program has really broadened my eyes to be able to see what a difference I can have. And so I'd just like to sincerely thank everyone who made this experience possible for me, and call for the university to reflect upon who we're called to be, and then how we can make such a great change in the Richmond community. Thank you very much.